Chapter 17. Operation Wandjacking is officially a go. They want evil? We'll show these suckers evil. Oridon prep kids will get what's coming to them. Maleficent's daughter is back. Ben's coronation at the cathedral was a grand event like no other. The cloudless blue skies smiled down upon limos, snaking their way up to the entrance of the cathedral. The cathedral steps were lined with a royal blue carpet, brimming with honored guests. Blue and gold flags rustled in the fair breeze. Snow White, the anchor woman, stood on a platform facing a TV cameraman. "At last," Snow White said into her mic, "here we are, broadcasting live from the coronation, where Prince Benjamin will soon be crowned king. I'm Snow White, bringing you up to the second coverage of Who's the Fairest of Them All." The camera exposed the inside of the massive cathedral, with its stained glass and countless pillars. It panned over Audrey, Chad, Jane, Fairy Godmother, and other guests mingling beside a stage, where a bell jar was on display, covered by a sheet. "Aw, Fairy Godmother is looking radiant," said Snow White. "But what is happening with Jane's hair? And that Peter Pan collar with a pink bow? Someone just earned a spot on Snow White's That Don't Look Right list." She waved a hand. Fairy Godmother uncovered the bell jar to reveal her magic wand. "And there's Fairy Godmother's wand," said Snow White. "So sparkly, so fun." "Oh, and here comes Ben now," Snow White announced. A carriage drawn by two white horses rolled up in front of the cathedral. Ben and Mal sat in the back. Mal wore a radiant purple dress and had her hair up in a fancy bun. Ben wore his deep blue suit. Guests threw flower petals and confetti at them. "Oh, and he went with classic Prince Couture. That is a Benjowin," said Snow White. Inside the carriage, Mal clutched her blue box. She looked down at it. Ben took her hand. "Don't be nervous," he told her. "All you have to do is sit there and look beautiful." He smiled. "No problem there." "Thank you," said Mal. She looked back at the box in her lap. Ben offered his Oridon prep ring to her. "Mal, would you wear my ring?" Not now," she said, pulling her hand out of his. "I think it would just fall right off me." She smiled. "I have something for you." She handed him the beautiful blue box. "It's just for later, you know, when you need strength. Some carbs to keep up your energy." "Always thinking," said Ben, opening the box. Inside was the chocolate mini cupcake. "But I can't wait." He took a big bite of the treat. "No," said Mal, reaching to stop him. Ben munched the cupcake. This is really good." Mal looked up apprehensively at him. Do you feel okay?" "You bet," said Ben, licking his fingers. "Would you say that you're still in love, that you have very strong feelings for me?" asked Mal. "Not sure," said Ben. "Let's give the anti-love potion a few minutes to take effect." "Okay," said Mal. Then she realized what he'd said. She stared at him. He laughed. She laughed too. "You knew?" she asked. "What, that you spelled me?" "Yeah," said Ben. "Yeah, I knew." "I can explain myself," started Mal. "It's fine. You had a crush on me. I was with Audrey. You just didn't trust that it could happen on its own," said Ben. "Am I right?" "Exactly. You are so right," said Mal. "So then, how long have you known?" "Since our first date," said Ben. "Your spell washed away in the enchanted lake." "So then, what, you've just been faking it since then?" asked Mal. Ben put his ring on Mal's finger and kissed her hand. "I haven't been faking anything," Ben said, looking deep into her eyes. The carriage rolled to a stop in front of the cathedral. Trumpets blared. Footmen opened the carriage door and helped Mal down from it. "Well, if it isn't Mal looking like some kind of princess," said Snow White. "Now let's see who this beauty is wearing." Snow White read something from a blue index card. "Evie," she said. "Someone named Evie designed her gown." Ben took her hand. He and Mal walked up the cathedral stairs. Trumpets blared on either side of them as they approached Beast and Belle. The crowd roared. Mal and Ben reached the top of the stairs. Mal bowed before Ben's parents. About the other day, Mal said to Beast. I told Ben this wasn't going to be easy, said Beast. You also taught me that a king has to believe in himself, said Ben, even when it isn't easy. I did? How very wise of me, said Beast. Belle took Ben's hands in hers. Ben, we are very proud of you, said Belle. You keep listening to your heart. Thanks, Mom, said Ben. You're going to make a fine king, said Beast. He patted Ben on the arm. Beast and Belle walked off. Ben stepped up to Mal. Wish me luck. An attendant offered his hand to Mal. She turned to Ben, smiled, and allowed herself to be led away and into the cathedral. It was time to begin the coronation. Attendants opened the main doors to the cathedral for Ben. He began to walk down the long aisle. The audience bowed to him as he passed. A choir sang. Mal watched Ben from the front row. Evie, Jay, and Carlos with Dude looked on from the balcony. Ben moved down the aisle. Mal smiled, but her smile fell. Ben approached the stage where Fairy Godmother, his parents, and the wand waited for him. Mal was so very close to the wand. In her mind, she could picture her mother and the other villains cheering at the sight of her so close to it, watching her with burning intensity. Mal could almost hear her mother say under her breath, "Don't blow this, kiddo." She gulped and stared at Ben as Fairy Godmother lifted the crown from Beast's head and placed it on Ben's as he kneeled. Mal had never before seen him look so noble. Her stomach lurched as she stared intently at the wand. Mal's eyes began to glass over with tears. Beast lifted the bell jar. Belle handed the wand to Fairy Godmother. Mal looked at Evie, who nodded, and gave Carlos and Jay the signal to proceed with their plan. Then she looked back at the wand. It shimmered. Mal stared at it, transfixed. Before the Fairy Godmother, Ben awaited the blessing with her wand. The choir stopped singing. Fairy Godmother held the wand out to Ben as if she was going to knight him. "Do you solemnly swear to govern the peoples of Oradon," said Fairy Godmother, "for all in the cathedral to hear, with justice and mercy, as long as you shall reign?" Mal could just picture her mother shouting for her to grab the wand. "I do solemnly swear," said Ben. Fairy Godmother lifted the wand. "Then it is my honor and my joy to bless our new king." The wand was snatched out of Fairy Godmother's hand. The audience gasped.